All right, what's up, everyone? What's up, viewers, everyone here in the Zoom and people watching on YouTube? It's Tyler again, part of the team Let's Eat trading group. We're going to break down a couple pairs today. We're going to start off with gold, and we're just going to get right into it. So last week, we'll zoom in time frame a little bit. So last week, market opened and we spiked up and we had a huge push down, showing us the momentum of where the market wanted to go for the remainder of the week. We broke all of these lows right here, and then we pulled back into these levels. And I had this blue level, this key level marked here. And I also had at the top of these. So pretty much just like 20, 30 pip range is what I had marked. And we sold from these levels. I did sell a little early. I sold right here, and then I sold after as it started dumping again. Then we had some news, and after the news, we continued down to 1845, which is the full target. So this week, we're really just looking to continue that. Going to the weekly, what I'm expecting is this next candle to be another bearish candle. However, we all know and love how those weekly wicks work. So what I'm waiting for is a wick on the weekly level to form. And at the peak of that wick is where we're going to be entering. And then I'm expecting the rest of the week after that wick is created to move down. Obviously, the low of this past week will be the first target, and the low of the previous 2 weeks ago is the full swing. Really down here is the full swing, but I don't think we're going to get that far. But on the daily level, what I have marked up is the high of the previous day, which is 1865 right here. And then I have the open, right? So I'm expecting the price to come into this general area before we move down. Breaking it down to the 4-hour, we can see if we move this left slightly, this is a structural level, 1858.5. And then I could pull this left as well. And we have this little box right here, right? So zooming in on 1 hour, zoom out on chart. Okay. What I can see is very clear. Here, actually, I'm going to break it down like this. So we have this push right here. And then we have a corrective structure back up. And then we have another push down. And when the market opens, we might push down more. So what I'm looking for is another larger corrective structure so that we get a larger move to the downside. And this is where I'm going to be looking to enter right here. Now, once price approaches 1858 to 1860, that is where I'm going to be looking to enter. I'm not waiting for it to come all the way up here. I don't think it will. If it does, I'll just place more entries, but I believe price is not going to go that far up. I do think once we hit the 1860 level, I believe that's where we're going to start to see price turn and start to melt down to the lower 1800 area. Now, from a sell up here at 1860, once we hit this low of 1843, that is almost 200 pips, 170 pips. I most likely am going to take some form of partials there. I don't know exactly how much yet. It depends on if we're just blasting right through it, similar to how see price right here blasted through this support. If we blast right through it, I probably won't really close any, but if we hit it and stall, then I will close some partials here. But I'm definitely leaving a majority of the trade to the full target. This area right here, this 1820 to 1818 is really where I'm going to be shedding the trade off. So once we dip into this area, I'll start closing, close more and more and more. Because if we're going to make this move down, we are definitely going to pull back up, probably to this level. So I'm hoping we'll do something like this. And then, you know, if we're going to continue that and come all the way down here, we're going to do something like that. So we had entries here. We're going to get entries here and then entries there if price does do that. So a nice move to the downside. That's pretty much it for gold. So yeah, just really waiting for price to come back up to 1860. In the instance that it just keeps dumping and dumping and dumping, then there's just no valid entry. And we'll just wait for the next opportunity, but I'm definitely looking for that push to the upside to 1860. Does my mic still work? I feel like I just pressed the button. Hopefully my mic still works.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So that's it for gold, guys. We're gonna draw this little guy right here. So we're looking at roughly 400 pips to the full swing target once we move up into that area. Something else I want to point out is this right here. I'm not drawing this as a trend line. I'm drawing this as what I call the flow of the market. So the market was flowing and respecting this level, this ascending level right here, and then we've broken past it. And again, similar to, it's pretty much similar to this. See how it was being respected, and then we broke past it, and then we had a nice corrective structure before moving down. That's what I'm really looking for, but on a larger scale right here. So we have the push down. I'm looking for the corrective structure. Even if we push down another 50, 70 pips, I'm still waiting for price to come all the way back up to around the 1860 level before we continue to sell. Now, if we do move down to like 1830, I'm going to be moving this level right there, and then we're going to be looking at this range. But that's only in the instance that, you know, we come all the way down here, because then that corrective structure might look something like this, and then we move down. But we'll just have to see and wait what happens. As of right now, this is definitely the plan, is selling from this area right here. Let me draw that back on, a solid 400 pips to the downside. So that's the first trade we're going to be looking at this week. Second is pound Aussie. Now I think we're going to hit both ways this week. We start at the weekly. You can see how massive this bull's pressure is. So immediately it's an obvious buy. But before we buy, I think we're going to have a potential opportunity to sell. And the only reason we're selling is because, again, we need that wick. So let me show you. Look over here. See how we pushed up into this area. We stalled for 2 days, and then we dumped, right? And then what happened is this next weekly candle pulled way back up here, and then we fell. So now let's bring it to the most recent. So we push into this area. We have these 2 candles that stall, and then we pushed. So now I'm thinking we're going to get a wick and then a continuation, which might take 2 weeks. I have this weekly high marked right here. There's also this one that I have marked just with my own eyes. I don't like drawing that many lines on my chart. We'll go to the 4-hour. So pretty much 1.867 and 1.877 are going to be the buy swing highs, or targets, I should say. I'm really looking to buy off this first level. I don't think we're going to come down there. I'm even going to delete it because we'll just go to the 30-minute here. Now let me get my drawing tool. So this is what I see. We pushed down, we pulled back, we had this sort of corrective structure, push, pull, right? Now we're back at these highs. So when market opens, I don't think we're going to spend a lot of time right here. I think we're going to kind of stall this for a second and drop. And that drop is going to make that wick on the weekly to the downside. And then as soon as we start changing pressure right here, I'm closing the trade and looking to take buys all the way up to these higher targets. Let me delete all of this now. So the first hour, the market will be interesting. I'm not looking to wait that long to enter here. We are right at the top. We're turning over, the double EMAs getting above price. I do think that we could spike to 86.1. If I zoom way out, see this high right here, this wick, I think it's possible that we come up into that area and make a wick, because that would take out everyone who's still in the sell from here, or possibly here who has a sell with the stop losses above here, right? So I would actually love to enter right between these two levels. Now, if we just blast off, then obviously there's not gonna be an entry, but if we kind of move around here and we stall around, then we're definitely going to be selling to make that weekly wick. And this right here is going to be the first target. Okay, I will mark that for now. So let me also make a little zone and delete this line. So I'm looking to place an entry right in this general area. The first target is 100 pips. That I will close probably 40%, maybe 50% of the trade, because overall we're looking to buy. And I'm going to have some partials to go 177 pips. Now, if we hit this level and we start stalling, in order to place the buys, I'm going to want to see a really nice bullish structure pattern that we can trade from. And what I mean by that is, let's say we're down here already. So I'm going to skip drawing the movement down. So let's say we get down here and, we start going like this. Okay, let me move over a little bit. We have an impulse up on that next corrective structure. This pattern is where I place the buys. Okay, now I'm looking for this honestly at one of these two levels. So we're either going to do this sort of structure right here or down here, almost exactly like this, but most likely going to be a little bit smaller. I don't think we're going to spend that long. I don't think it'll be that big of a range. I think it'll be a little bit more tight, if you get what I'm saying. But see how, we kind of impulsed up and we corrective down, place the buy. That's the type of structure I'm going to be looking for at one of these levels, which I'm hoping we can break down into this level, because that is that previous structure highs right here that has not been retested yet. So I think it's very likely that we will move down into this area. However, it all depends. So that's what that looks like. Similar. Okay, so similar like this structure right here. See how let me draw it out. See how we squeezed? We just knew, see the impulse up, and then we squeezed, then you place a buy entry right here, and then up. That's what I'm looking for. But, on a smaller level, or really on a larger level, because if I delete this, actually I'm going to draw it out. So we move up here. We have this corrective structure, buy entry, move up, corrective structure, buy entry, move up, corrective structure, buy entry, move up. You guys see it? See how you push up and it gets squeezed, push up and squeeze, push up and squeeze. We even have it here. I mean, you can zoom in on or zoom out on any time frame and you'll see this exact pattern. So that is exactly what I'm looking for, is that same sort of deal right here down to this level, right? See how that's adding up real nice. So that's the reasoning behind it. This is what I call the flow of the market, because it pushes up, squeezes, pushes up, squeezes, pushes up, squeezes. So that's just what I'm looking to have repeat. I'll delete all this. Come on. I should just press the undo button. So quick buys shortly, possibly even Sunday night or tonight, I guess. I don't know. It depends what happens here. Because like I said, if we blast past this, then we might just start moving up. You know, it might have just been a little chop right here and a continuation, but based on what I just drew and my gut intuition feeling, I think we are going to get a move down and then we're going to get the move up. More specifically, just because of that weekly level, you know, those weekly wicks. So we will see what happens. Let me get back in here. There is a slight chance. So what I'm betting on this sell is, of course, you know, I want to see that this week's wick come down here. However, if we're not really going to make that big of a wick, I think we're going to come down here first and then it'll take off. But I am planning to see a sell from here at least to here, guys. Okay, at least to here. If that structure that I showed you a little bit ago, oops, this structure starts right here, then we will enter right there. Or we wait for it to happen down here. Either one. I wish I should just copy and paste it. This is pretty much the structure I trade all the time. And it's opposite for sells. So on the 10-minute, we have this. This is what I'm looking to see. I'm going to be entering right here, but then it's going to push down and then it'll correct again like this. Enter one more time. 2 entries. And oops, whoops, and push to this level here or to this level right down there. All right, it's the same thing. That's literally the structure I enter on. The first entry is intuitive. Second entry is because of the price action. That's it for the pound Aussie. Pound yen. We're gonna look at the yen first, okay? For pound yen, I got a little mixed feelings about it. I think there's a couple different things that can happen, but let's look at the yen and let's look at a couple different things that the yen could do. And then we'll go to the pound yen. So right off the bat, this is what I see. Double top, impulse down, corrective structure, impulse down. Okay, that's what I see. That's immediately what my brain thinks. That's what my gut thinks. However, the yen just did get a stimulus package, which is actually why we got these huge pushes to the upside. And obviously, we're making higher highs and higher lows. So I had this zone drone right here. Let me draw it back. To me, I think either way, the yen is going to come down here. Once it gets down here, we are obviously either going to break And if that's the case, I think we're going to be sending it all the way down to this low and possibly beyond because of what I just drew. Impulse down here, corrective structure, another impulse down here. However, if we come down here and stall, then we have two more options. We're either going to go like this, correct to this level right here and drop, or we're going to go, what? We're going to go like this, push up, and go like that. Exactly what I just showed on every other pair. So the structure that happens when we're down here is what's going to determine what will happen. Are we going to continue up, or is this just a massive corrective structure and we're going to continue down? That's the question. My gut tells me this is a corrective structure and we're going to continue down. But I'm completely open to the fact of the yen getting a little bit of economic boost and being in an uptrend currently. I am open to that fact that this may continue. With that being said, we'll go to the yen basket and delete this. So there's a couple things I could see playing out here, and we'll just go through them one at a time. I'm going to start with what my gut is telling me. So in line with that yen being a corrective structure, and we're going to soon see another push to the downside. That's the same thing here with the flip side. So if that is going to be the case, again, this is what I'm looking for. Push up, corrective structure, and then an impulse. Okay. So if price comes down here and it starts making that sort of bullish structure that I always enter off of, I'm going to be buying. Scenario number 2 is this just dumps. And if that's the case, I will be looking for a corrective structure right here to continue the dump all the way down to these lows. Possibly even buy right here, because buying from here to there is 100 and something pips. So buying to sell, kind of like what we're doing with pound Aussie, but the opposite, right? So that's scenario number 2. Scenario number 3, which this scenario is like second in line to my gut feeling. So if we don't come down here and buy up, this is my second, what I truly think is going to happen is we come up here and we sell at least back down here. And if the yen breaks the 9,200 level, then we come down here or here, which the 9,200 level is what I have marked right here. This isn't randomly placed because of the high right here. This is the psych level 9,200. That's why that's placed there. This scenario, I would expect the yen to pull back to 9,100, which is where this black level is. Find support here and continue up. That should have been scenario number 2, because that's what I think is going to possibly happen. Now, again, let me draw these up again. Prices being, I like this. I want this range highlighted because we made this higher high right here. So first thing I'm looking for is a buy. That's what my gut is telling me. That's just, for some reason in my head, it's just saying buy. But second scenario, if we just move right up here, sell from this level, and we're going to come down here and maybe buy from here or break it. right? So actually, let me delete this. So I'm going to draw all these out now. So scenario that I think will happen, boom, right? Because this is a huge corrective structure from this impulse. Buy, push up, it maybe even blast past those previous highs, right? Who knows? Okay, that's scenario number one. That's what I'm initially planning for. Scenario number two, come up to these previous levels, sell and come down here. Okay, right here. Again, same thing. Are we going to go like this? Or are we going to go like this? This is scenario number two. That's I'm honestly I'm just gonna keep it at that. That's what I think is gonna happen. So we got one of two scenarios. I'm actually not gonna have that highlighted anymore, the range. So that's really it for oh, kind of like right here. Guys, see how we came up here, came back, right? I think boom, come back at least to 156. That's the target, 156. So it all depends what the yen basket does. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. There is that scenario that we just blast through here, which would mean this blast through here. And then we would be looking to sell when it pulls back up above this level. So pound yen, I mean, like when you look at these pairs, I'm saying we're selling here. We're selling to buy here. This one has a couple options. So I'm not like, real tight with my analysis with this one. That's why I don't really have a lot marked up. I guess I never really have a lot marked up, but yeah, I'm keeping this one real tight or real loose, and I'm open to what happens. And as of right now, there's not a decision. Are we buying? Are we selling? Because we just need more information from price, and we're just gonna have to wait for that. So I do see there's a couple more people in here. I don't know when you joined. iPhone. Is that Ramiro? All right, so I'm just gonna run through it on a really quick review. It is Ramiro. What's up, Ramiro? What's going on? So for you, Ramiro, I don't know when you joined. I'm gonna really quickly run through this, and then oh, let me show you. I'll run through it one more time, and then we're gonna call it good, and then the video will be on YouTube. And Ramiro, if you want, we can meet later too, and I can show you in person. Yeah, Ramiro is another Holland person. Gold, we're looking for a retracement back up into these levels. Bet over a bump. Yes, sir. You get it rolled right now, and then we'll meet up later. All right. All right. So with gold, I'm looking for a retracement up into these levels, 1860 to 1865. Right here, I'm going to be looking to place a sell order, and then the full target is going to be all the way down here, which is 400 pips. Pound Aussie, zoom in on the 30-minute. So from a lower time frame perspective, first of all, why is there not a candle right here? The market's open. But I'm looking to sell to either this level right here, which is 100 pips, or this level, which is 170. Now, from that sell, I'm going to mark up the sell. So let's say we sell down here. From that sell, I am looking to buy, right? So the main thing here is buying, because that's the momentum. But I do think we're definitely going to get some sort of pullback, just like we had here, just like we had here, just like when we pushed down, we pulled back here, and then we pulled back here, you know, we always get the pullback. So we're looking to sell this pullback because it's so many pips. That's the love of pound pairs. And then from here, we're going to look to buy to these highs up here. And then the pound yen, again, we're in the same sort of situation from last week, possibly buying right here. It all depends on what happens because there's also a possible sell from up here as well. So Romero, I'm going to draw it out for you. So what I'm planning for is a buy right here to go up here to 156, just like we planned last week. However, we could break this. And if we do break that, then we're going to be placing a sell right here for a continuation down. The third scenario that'll happen is we come up here and then we sell down here. And then we're back into that situation where does it break and we sell again, or do we buy right here and does it go up? So with pound yen, it's to be determined right now. We need more information. But the other two are not to be determined. That is exactly what's analyzed, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. And hopefully it's what you guys are going to be doing, because then we can make some money. There is a slight chance we might dip all the way back down into these lows, which would be lit. And I might hold 10% of my trade from up here to swing down there. I'll put my stop loss right at the entry. So even if it pulls back, it won't take me out. That's it, guys. Quick crypto rundown on daily. We got Ripple just consolidating like crazy. Bitcoin, same thing. Look, it's literally the same thing on every chart. Every time frame, every chart, doesn't matter. And I keep pressing the highlighter. Impulse, enter, there, boom. Look, pulls back, short it right here, boom. I mean, it's super, in my eyes, it's very, very clear, but that's it, guys. I'm going to end this and we will get the video up on YouTube in case you want to look back at it. Anyone have questions? Let's answer questions. Does anyone have questions? Or does anyone else want to go over charts? I can transfer the host. If not, no questions.
Alan might have something, or Quincy, you want to go over some US30?
Yes, go with this.
Yeah, let's get it.
Okay, I will transfer the host to you and mute myself. Stop sharing. Are you the host? Yeah, you are the host. Okay.
All right. All right, all right. As we see, I'm looking on a higher time frame right now. Looking on the daily. And as we see, we are accumulating towards the top of a major channel right now. So as you see right now, I'm just looking at the order flow to see where we're going to operate. Now, we caught some buys last week, missed out on some opportunities on Friday, but good thing is we are still up in the indices and still make some moves as we accumulate towards this supply. Now, it looks like we're losing a little bit of strength there. Well, let's see how we operate towards this major level right here at 35,700 or so. looking for buys, to be honest, because we want to see if we can buy up to maybe this double top area right here and really maximize this short right here. But the only thing is we really need to be patient, as the wicks can get a little bit tricky with the indices due to the volatility. So the ranges are going to be a bit more extreme. So we got to be patient. So my channels are as such because I'm looking at the flow here, and it seems that we are challenging some demand zones right here. So we're going to see if we can break this down. I assume we're going to open up with some type of bullish pressure. Let's look at the 4 hour. Now, zoom in a bit. As we see, it looks like it's about to break down even more. But the deal is we're about to open up in a few moments, in about 45 minutes or so. So the deal is, let's see how we react. But the way I see it, the order flow, I believe this channel may fail, and we might have to see if there's another channel we can settle to. And the next level that looks possible, due to where I'm seeing the wicks, is possibly down here, if this level fails as a support. So if it maintains resistance and dies out even more, even below 35,650 and further, then we have this lane to play with as we enter the upcoming days. Now, as we go back to a weekly view, just note, we have a lot of range to still climb up here. And due to these wicks right here, we can still challenge way above here. That's why I still have yet to get rid of this action up here, just knowing where we're at structurally. Plenty of room for us to break out of these bearish intentions right around here and continue to challenge up for more all-time highs. But due to what we're seeing on the lower time frames, we have to be extremely patient before we place our bets any wrong, because we have to be extremely diligent with our price action with these indices. The movements are larger, so we must protect our capital as such. Let's look at the hourly. And as we see right here, plenty of room for a nice move. And due to this order flow here, this nice wick right here, the way I see it, we have a lot of room to play here. And the good thing is, we can ride it all the way down here, assuming we get the right type of rejection, and we can enter somewhere above this yellow major level here without exposing too much risk. We can get all of this here as long as we get the rejection in this zone right here. Now let's zoom out a bit. Now, as long as we can stay way below here, this move will be ready for us this week. But if for whatever reason, we get a lot of strength coming in Monday, Tuesday, an actual long will happen. So before we even think about going long, this short is extremely ready right now. So we still have to be patient. Now, does anybody have any questions for how I'm looking at my entries? Because as you notice, certain weeks we have a few calls, maybe 3 to 4. Then there's certain weeks where there's maybe 1. So do we have any questions with how we're seeing things? We can go over XPX if we
Can
need
you
to.
explain that for like the people who's in VIP but not in here and can actually watch the video later?
Yes, indeed. I really want to understand, or I should say, I really want people to understand why there are certain calls on certain weeks, or I should say a lack thereof, or an abundance in certain weeks.
I don't understand it. So you can explain it to, because I don't follow indices all that much, even though that you trade them for us.
All right.
So you can
So let's
explain
just
it.
let's take a look here real quick. Let's go back on the daily right here. Now, as you see the move that I'm plotting right here, I'm looking for bigger swings. Because the deal is, you can scalp your way to heaven if you want, but not everybody has time to scalp all of the movements. So we always look at larger time frames to see where the motion is. And if I take one of my tools here, let's drag that over here. And let's just take a look at this range right here. And as we see here, that is a 3,000 pip move right there, or I should say a 3,000 point move. So that's, good Lord, that's 30,000 pips right there. So the deal is, just with that zone right there, you want to be able to catch as many of those swings as possible, understanding that even that there are profitable movements at scalp time frames, we want to maximize as much of these swing movements as possible. Okay. So for instance, when we're plotting a move and we see all of this accumulation here, it's a matter of where is the strength? Where's the weakness? And as we were making moves here, we were able to buy up to here, and we probably could have even stuck in and went all the way up here. But the deal is, when it comes to our moves, we have to protect our capital as much as we can, no matter what, before we get cooked. And the cool thing is, with indices, as long as you're patient in respecting market structure, you can make a lot of money. And let's go to a smaller time frame. Let's go to the 1 hour. All right. Now, with how this is setting up, I'm looking for maybe 1, maybe 2 trades for the entire week, because the way that this is setting up, I'm hoping that we get a tremendous amount of weakness, that this move has no choice but to happen. But we have to see how the price action plays out over the next 18 to 24 hours or so to see just how many candles are going to be in our favor as we operate around this major level at 35,700. Okay. And the good thing is, this wick right here, just how strong the rejection is right here, and looking at the order flow here as we descend off this roller coaster right here, the price action looks to be that as long as we don't have any strong support here, we should flow into nice profit here. But if for whatever reason, if it becomes stronger than we anticipate, we can always be ready for the long here. So for anybody that pays attention to the analysis in the VIP group, you'll notice that I'll have opportunities for longs or shorts depending on the opportunities that present itself. Now, if it gets weak, we're going to be short. But for whatever reason, we get strength, we'll be looking for some buys around New York Open and challenge the upper part of this channel to see what happens in this triangle. So it's really about the price action that happens. With indices, you can get moves just about any session, but it's just a matter of how closer you are to the swing points. And as we go to the 4 hour, now where this is positioned right now, and just how this breakdown is, this channel is really about to fail very soon. It's just about failed at this moment. So because I know this channel is just about failed at this moment, I need to see how it's going to react off of this level right here. because we'll have plenty of time for a buy around New York Open, depending on what kind of support happens. But if the support fails, we'll probably only have to place maybe one, maybe two trades the entire week, depending on how violently this plummets towards this bearish support right here. So it's all about the price action that happens over the next few hours. Any questions? Let's take a look at the chat. Let's take a look at a little something else right here. Let's take a look at SPX.
Do you think it's gonna move that much during the holiday week?
Oh Lord, no. Crazy thing is, y'all will understand very soon. During the holiday times, not a lot of movement. So we can be ready for the swings all we want, but the deal is we have to respect whatever price action is before us. And I really hope that makes sense. I was plotting this move over here, but as we see, really wasn't ready yet. Now, let's just go into do a smaller time frame, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. There's always an opportunity when it comes to the scalp. Now, let's take this. Now, as we see here, this is a bullish flow, but it's messy. But the good thing is there is still structure where somebody could be successful as long as they know what they're doing. Okay. So just looking at this small time frame on the 15-minute here, if we just look at the flow of where this is going, all right, we're at November 10th here, and we're just bringing this all the way through now. Okay. Now the deal is, if somebody were to be scalping, they need to understand their rules, their tolerance to the volatility, and they have to be okay with getting in and out. For example, we look back here to the 11th. If somebody, they were getting ready for a buy, they would probably have to wait just a few times for this to really settle before really trusting the market of going long here. Now, unfortunately, if somebody were just to place their buy right here, only about, 20 points or so, right? Actually, about 15 points, just about. Now, you can be profitable there, but the deal is if somebody, they were more patient and they had a better, rule tolerance, they probably have a few more touches before they really trust getting into this buy, because they're waiting for some type of manipulation to play at hand, because the deal is these big banks, they're moving. They have people's retirement funds in hand. Profits, they need to happen. So they're waiting for the right moves, absorbing that liquidity to make that move. Seriously, look at all this accumulation here. Because if somebody, they waited and waited and just waited for this accumulation to play out, knowing that they're in this bullish channel right here, they really could have made some money on a small account here. Okay. Now, even though this isn't the big boy that the Dow Jones is, structurally via the candle, it's very similar with the movements. So even if you didn't have a few $1,000s in your account, you could still do something with the S&P 500 due to the candles being structurally very similar to the Dow Jones. The liquidity isn't the same, but it moves similarly enough. As long as you're patient, you can have a lot of the same success that Dow Jones traders and other very successful traders in the indices make happen. So as long as you're patient, you can do some things. Now, any questions with something like this? You just go out on a higher time frame here. Let's go to the 1 hour. Oh, sorry about that, y'all. There we go. And as we look on the 1 hour, as somebody, they were really patient. As we see here, just riding up to more highs. For whatever reason, we just have to play at the hands of the price action. I see this right here. I see all this accumulation, knowing that we are in a bull market. I'm holding for a buy here. It's going to look a little wicked, but the reason why I believe I can even swing even the scalp range here is simply because looking at where the order flow is, it's having no choice but to go up there. Because if we look how long this channel actually plays out, look how far back it goes. And I'm still on this hourly time frame here. And just looking at how this flow is, you can just see how a lot of folks would get spooked out at different times. But if you just see where the alley is, it has no choice but to go where the order flow wants. Now, the moment that this angle of demand begins to fade a bit, and then we'll see if we can look for more shorts. But as it stands right now, people who are going long, they're still safe. Now, what I see up here is a lot of opportunity for the bears to flex and see what happens with a descending triangle if it can happen. But the deal is, we're still a little bit bullish. Folks are going to try to push this up just a bit more and challenge even more all-time highs. But the way I see it, the market needs to breathe a little bit, come back down before we get back up. Let's go on a higher time frame. Let's go to the 4 hour. Now, as we see here, similar to Dow, plenty of room to keep challenging these all-time highs, albeit with the lower time frames showing some bearish intentions. So expect on Monday morning for many people to be fooled. So we have to be very patient with the price action that presents itself between 8 and 10 o'clock a.m. EST. Doesn't matter if it's for the large cap or small cap indices, it's really about being patient with the price action that we see. And if we see a pattern that we recognize, let's see if we can pounce on it. It's very simple. Any questions? Because other than that, we got to keep it very simple and patient with indices as we get towards the holiday months. Unless there's going to be tremendous fundamentals at play, we will still look to be profitable even as liquidity lessens a bit. I hope you understand the patience. We got to protect the capital as we increase it. But that's how it is when we're trying to be the best that we can be. So please, do we have any questions? You can compare to some charts from back in the day so you can see what I'm talking about. But please, do we have any questions? Let's check the Zoom. Okay. Well, hey, if that's about it, I mean, thank you for having us. This is Team Let's See. Thank you, Ty, for having me, man.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. I'm going to